So I'm 29, and by the time this publishes, I'm gonna be 30, just walking around East Vancouver here, and I'm thinking about that. And one of the main things that I'm thinking about that I want to stick with when I'm 30 and through my 30s is I was a certain kind of guy for a lot of my 20s, okay? I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Nobody does. That's how it goes, right? I will say one of the things about me that I don't know how many people would identify with or agree with is that I've never felt old, in the sense that I've always hung out with people who were older than me. Musicianship is great for that. It makes you intergenerational at all ages. You know, I think that has benefit to every generation who is a musician. But you know, I've never felt old because I've always hung around people and like been in bands with and started big projects with, spent a lot of time with people generation above me and even, you know, 5 to 10 years above me. I've always done that, but I've also never felt young in that I've always interacted a lot with, you know, as much as anybody who isn't a teacher would, you know, with younger musicians and things like that. Like, I'm not a teacher, but I've been in music educational things and I've played with people who are younger than me. So I never get shocked by like feeling like, oh, I'm old or oh, I'm young. It doesn't happen. And I'm also like always calibrating that in my mind. Like, I can just see timelines in my mind all the time. And so this thing, there's a lot of humor that's made about it that I just whiff on. It just doesn't work for me because, like, it's weird. Not only am I always calibrating my own age and other people's ages and I just see it in front of me like all the time, it doesn't surprise me, but also because of the things I've done, I've never felt super old. I've never felt super young. So that's why it's like when I'm turning 30, it's not scary. You know, it's only exciting in this sense. There's a lot of stuff that I really want to leave behind from my 20s that I'm excited to leave behind. And turning 30 is an interesting milestone for that because it's almost like throughout my whole 20s, I felt the obligations of having to be that guy who did all that dumb stuff that I remember doing from my early 20s and from when I drank and from when I had these feelings that I didn't know how to resolve and all that stuff. I felt like no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, no matter how much I tried to change, I would always be that guy. And so it was so easy to revert to being that guy for days or weeks and falling off things that I wanted to try and new ways I wanted to try and have fun with people and be a happier person. It felt hard because I thought I was just that same guy who did all that dumb stuff. I'm more than just that guy. I don't have to be that guy forever. I can change. I can try new things. I don't have to carry around that obligation of remembering that person who did those things in such a way that it sticks me back there all the time. I never had to do that, but when you're turning 30, it's a nice time to realize that and to remind yourself of this. And I'll have to keep reminding myself of it, I'm sure. It's interesting because I made all that music, right? It's like all the things about being that guy, even the things that I'll remember fondly or nostalgically, like, I'm not gonna forget those things because I made all this music and it's never going away. I made these albums, 2 albums, I made these EPs. I documented it. Of course, I still have a lot of people in my life that I've had since before my 20s even started. They're still here and I'm still enjoying every time I get to spend with them. In a lot of ways, the 20s was the story of my relationship into engagement, into marriage. My marriage, you know, that all took place during my 20s and it almost spans the entire period. So it'll always be about that. And that's amazing that all this stuff happened in that period of time and that happened over that whole period of time. I mean, there's the more mundane thing like health, right? Like, I feel a lot healthier as I'm turning 30 than I did when I'm turning 20. And a lot of that has substance related reasons for sure, sleep related reasons. It's pretty basic stuff. But I want to keep feeling that way. Man, if I could feel that way when I'm about to be 40, if I could look back and be like, wow, I feel pretty much just as healthy as when I was about to turn 30, that would be amazing. I would be so stoked for that. I mean, a lot would have to go right to get there, but if I could just keep this feeling year on year of, oh, I still feel as healthy as I did at the beginning of last year, and it all feels better even than when I was 20, you know, going through my 30s, that's the dream. Like, I think if I do that, I'll get a lot of the other things right too. But I mean, there's that. But the main thing that's on my mind is, you know, I don't have to be that guy. I'm moving on.